Good morning, UniVersus community. We are here on a lovely Sunday, and it's time for Top 8.
It is time for Top 8. It is quite early in the morning as well, Jesse, as we are on the East Coast, of course, and it's 8 o'clock. And so good morning, UniVersus players.
It's fine.
You're right. And, it's the holiday season as well. So we have some merry gifts and some merry Top 8 players to be talking about today, Sunday in Buffalo. And we've got a quick bracket that we want to go over for you all at home. If you haven't been able to keep an eye on social media and see who our top 8 contestants are, well, don't worry. We've got it right here for you. So we're going to do a quick breakdown, but our players are already underway in their top 8, and our stream match is waiting on us. So here's going to be your bracket today for your top 8 in the Buffalo Regional. And the big thing we have to say here is Kyle Croft here playing Devilgen, your Swiss champ at the end of Swiss yesterday. I don't think anyone is surprised by that Devilgen right there.
Not at all.
But I think what it can be surprising, unless you've been paying attention, like in Glasgow, Mikasa, Ackerman, Hizuru's Hope being the most represented character here across top 8 with 3 representations.
Not surprised at all.
But, of course, we've got some small, fun ones of in between. We have, of course, all the way at the bottom, Ryan Levine playing Hawks, the tried and true that he has had a lot of success with. We've got Jacob Hyatt, who we had the pleasure to showcase on stream yesterday, playing that Void Rodan. And Ezra Miller here playing Crystal Lens once again, like in Louisville when he top-cutted with that deck.
That is true.
And then, of course, River Cook playing Mikasa Ackerman. But the one from AOT set 1, which is the aggressive kind of, I like to call it the pony impersonation, right?
That is true. It's like you can't take, Pony's just like, because River was a Pony player for a long period of time. It's like, you know what? You just go to the next character that clears the card pool consistently. Why not?
The most aggressive version. And so I'm excited to see something like those aggro 7-handers like River Cook play against the, Rodan's defensive 7-handers that we kind of seen. And surprise, surprise, Jesse, that's going to be our stream match that we're going to be showcasing as well. And I want to sit here and say that maybe we're going to have another explosive aggro 7-hander versus defensive 7-hander. Going first is going to be very volatile, of course. But the reality is, when we did the match yesterday of Ymir versus Rodan, we got a real slobber knocker of a match.
That's true. But the biggest, you got to remember the main difference is Mikasa has all the best abilities on the front side. There's no flip. We don't have to transform to get our thing online.
That's true, and we have to also remember this Rodan list was playing things like Unyielding Destruction, which don't necessarily have as much mileage against this Mikasa deck, right? It's playing things like Defiant Stance to get that double use of the respond commit after your attack deals damage, draw a card. Well, if those are the 4 foundations you've got, it essentially functions as 8 when it comes to using your cost abilities, right? So things like Unyielding, I don't know if are going to be the key to success for Jake here playing on Rodan, but also on the same boat, the Mikasa deck, it can kind of run out of gas if you don't go early, right? Because, yes, you give scaling speed, but if you're using things like Feral Shrieks and Wish Hards early, you're getting that early filter draw, but the explosivity is there, undoubtedly.
Yeah, this deck played some interesting choices, like even some good defensive pieces, considering. I'm all for the Ride the Lightning getting in there. I saw that on the deck because I was like, yeah, I heard some Ride the Lightning. We're playing Hunter's Ally Genghis Frog. We're like literally taking tech from the Pony decks and move it into this deck.
Yeah, that benefit of playing even a couple of these ally foundations that are on the air symbol, like Ryukyu Agency Trainees, great for playing around cards like Ares Smile, which we're not going to see in this Void Rodan list, of course, but it just is one of those things where if your opponent blocks one of your moves, you have this ability to build down a very key foundation that could lead to this deck getting even more aggression. Things like Masho's Concealment, saying no to some powerful foundation ability. But Jacob being on the play here, being able to go first as he is the higher seed, and getting at least a build 4 here, it looks to be is going to be pretty solid.
The really interesting thing about this bracket is we have the top 4 different characters, 4 different deck archetypes.
Yeah,
and then the bottom 4 is Mikasa. It's
true.
The Mikasa Jamboree.
Yeah. For everybody at home, obviously, from what you looked at the bracket, it was impossible for us to not put Mikasa Ackerman on top of the table. But as you can see, hitting the board here, double Levi's Relentless Spirit. This is another one of those cards that when I was talking about Defiant Stance, I didn't necessarily, I didn't really think about cards that are going to be doubling up for double mileage if you do run into things like Unyielding Destruction. But if they are cards like that and things that function as two foundations into one, this is a really good one.
Oh yeah, this is another card that didn't see a lot of the pony decks decided were like playing like I saw some versions playing like a 1 of this, maybe a 2. Like they never played like this deck is like, hey, you need to be able to ready these foundations back up.
And it's a real 3-diff, right?
Yes.
But you're right. I mean, it's one of those foundations that has the same timing for responsibility as the character itself.
Yep.
So whether you need to ready it and then use it to use Mikasa's draw ability, you can do that. Or you have all of your foundations ready, you can use Mikasa first when you hit to commit this Levi's Relentless, and then the ability will trigger. Hey, I've dealt damage, ready it up right now. The versatility of this foundation, I mean, it makes it, look at the stats on this. 4 mid-block, 4 check. Yep. These are not great numbers, especially when you look at the 3-diff as well, but it is that powerful.
Yeah, it is definitely a situation where River gained 2 just going in. I'm like, I'm going to build 2 of these on 1. I need it. I need to get on board and ready to go.
And it paid off. I guess the only point that we'll have to find out if it really did pay off is we have the first attack of this top 8 match being played by Jake, the world's weakest hunter, hitting the board. And this is, doing your own kind of pony impersonation. This is one of the fastest moves in this deck for a 4-diff.
Yep. And it looks like we're going to just take it and let Rodan draw 2 cards. Also, the fact that Jacob used the incubating to increase that. Like I was like, he went, all right, I'll remove Rodan, and he incubated it because he got like +3 speed, +4 speed, and he's like, I'm gonna -1 because I really want to draw more cards.
Yeah, because it's not just about, hey, can you even block this for how fast it is, but do you even have the mid block, right? And hey, if you didn't have the answer to one of them, how about the second one? As we did check a 3 on it, of course, having to commit not just Rodan, but one of our foundations. But this one is going to have the ability to not just draw the 2, it can draw 3. So now the setup really paying off here for Jacob. The only thing I'm worried about now is if it does get blocked by something like this timely counterattack. But it looks like we ended up checking. Did you see that? We're already sporting our nice little top cut Ride the Lightnings.
Sure are.
And so they look great, of course. But checking that 3 means we're gonna fail it. And now we have drawn essentially 5 more cards here as Jacob. Can we now pass these foundations to get our stage incredibly healthy?
Yeah, it's just tight. Like it has a lot of attacks in hand. Like we got
checking these 4s is also not necessarily what we're looking for, and we value the incubating more than that Ironclad Faith. So we're going to let it go and just build 2 more foundations and take our 2 momentum, leaving River at 17 as we pass back to them.
Yeah, and River's gotta make a. This is where I think River has a chance of, like, 21 health is not a lot, and if this I can find an opening here, this is the opening he needs.
And I think one of the perks of this character, remember, this character, when they came out, was on everybody's radar and then got eroded and everyone kind of forgot about it. Yep. And then with the release of Attack on Titan Apocalypse, people were like, wait a minute, Ackerman team-up gets what? 2 damage for every card that's been cleared? As we're now seeing another different kind of attack that this character gained access to from Attack on Titan 2, Blindside Slash, which is going to deal 1 damage no matter what, unless you see some crazy trick like a Mikasa defeats the female Titan, which is not what's going to happen for Jacob here.
Yeah. We're setting up for this. We're setting up a line here. It's like, hey, you can reduce the speed on this, but we're going to get some connection here.
And it's a great lead-in, right? It has stun on it. It's going to deal no matter what. And like you said, Mikasa has the ability to ramp up to that speed, but we have to keep using her ability to get to that potential where we could actually combat against the minus speed that Rodan is giving. But we have to keep pressing that Mikasa response, right? We have to discard a card, we have to clear a thing, but if not 1 Blindside Slash that you didn't feel like blocking, how about number 2, which even without the ability on the card, it still has stun 1. We are actually going to start committing down almost every single one of these foundations for Jacob, and if I'm Jacob, I might be a little scared at this point.
Yeah, like we started stunning out this board. Like this could, like even these little stun ones, they're adding up because Jacob doesn't have an established board.
Yeah, absolutely. Second one, this is the first Mikasa response getting used here, which is going to give 1 speed, and we have to discard a card of course as cost to do that, but we're going to get 1 clear. So for everybody keeping track at home, we have used Mikasa once, and we have cleared 1 card, and we have multiple cards in our deck that not just benefit from the cards cleared, but we have Mikasa herself who continuously scales with that speed. Getting a little bit of a back and forth using Rodan here, -4 speed because of that block modifier on Hacker. So this is the slowest blindside slash of all time, and I have to wonder if I'm Jacob, do I actually completely block this one? But I'm still gonna take one.
Yep. So we're gonna get another, and it looks like Jake's like preparing for next turn. He's got a lot of attacks in discard, and he's removing them to try to get Rodan online.
That's the best way to do it. Yeah, absolutely. When you have things like incubating this early for Rodan, as long as those attacks hit your discard pile, you can absolutely unlock that 4 key number when you're looking to then start looking at the top 4 cards of your deck. Getting that full block here with something even like the high block modifier of Supersonic Flight, it does pass, but you still take the 1, Jacob going to 16. And because it connects, we as Mikasa have the ability now to ready both of these Levi's Relentless Spirits. That's now the second time they've been used, and if we want to draw a card, it is up to River to turn another foundation sideways.
Let's say River's taking a second and evaluating board state. I mean, I would always do that at this point. It's like, hey, let's take a moment, make a decision.
Decision has been made, Jesse, as now Hunter's Ally coming into the card pool. We talked about this a little bit at the beginning, right? The fact that we can use this Genghis Frog technology on the Blitz ability to build in any ally card from our discard pile. But like we said earlier, there's not just ally backups in our deck. We are also playing ally foundations, but the frog has hit the board. It is time to unload the toad. All right, part of the crowd, for everybody home, didn't like that joke.
Yeah, we heard the groans and
duly
laughs.
noted. So, because of Genghis Frog now on the stage, we'll get +3 damage to all of our moves, which is something that Mikasa doesn't do, right? It's why we were playing cards like Ackerman team up to get that scaling damage pump. But now, even cards like Hunter's Ally are now going to be for 8 damage. And again, Mikasa is constantly scaling the speed up and up and up. And here's the other thing you have to ask. How many high blocks does Jacob actually have? This is the 3rd high attack now.
Yep, and let's see. We're pretty much sitting on rejuves here.
Is this our hand?
That's our hand.
That's so many cards. We need to draw 5, I guess, on top of our 7-hander.
Yep.
Yeah, Rejuve Smash here on the half block. It is the second card played. We did check the 4. Gain 2, draw 2, but we will take half of the 8, which is the 4. So essentially going down to 14 for Jacob is going to still let this Hunter's Ally connect, which is going to give River the opportunity to draw more cards themselves if he would like.
Yep.
Or if they would like. So it looks like that is going to be the play here with the Levi's Relentless. And here's where we have to talk about Levi's Relentless Spirit a little bit. If we do this last ready, which River has decided to do, they do flip themselves.
They sure
You
do.
get that last ready, that's incredible. But now they have to consider they no longer have access to that ability. But another high attack has hit the card pool, Violet Animus Shot. And this one you really don't want to connect if you are Jacob.
No. This is where things start getting dangerous. Because now we've ramped up all this speed with Mikasa, and we have 3 damage to start with. It's like if you have to even partial this, you're losing the card of your choice for the block, and then you're losing a random card.
I hope the 2 cards that we drew off of this Rejuvenating Smash response, one of them is a high block. And not only that, we are now hitting the point here for River where every attack being played is going to be matching the speed that Rodan can give minus side. But hey, what's going to help us specifically? Barrier Shield. And there's the first one we've seen Jacob play here in this game. Now that it's been set to 0, and we can also put the Rodan ability on top of it, putting it to -3 speed. Any high block in the game could block this one.
Yep.
Ironclad Faith that we're going to end up having that block with. Checking a 5 easily gets the job done. No damage dealt on River's side, which means no ability to draw a bonus card.
But do we want to break? Looks like we only got 2 cards left here, too.
You run out of cards when you don't hit anymore.
Like we're coming in.
Yeah, we are. I mean, this one, I think this one is Timely, or is this one Ackerman? They all look the same.
No, that's Timely Counterattack.
Timely Counterattack, which is a nice one because it's a 3 difficulty, right? One of these 3 difficulty attacks, and it's a low zone. So now we're having this mix-up. There's already 3 cards in Jacob's card pool, and the question now is do you still press the responsibility from River here? But if you do, that's your last card in your hand, and then it kind of shows that you don't have another move, right? So it looks like the response not getting played here, which means we don't get the speed from Mikasa. You have to play that ability to get that going. But we are starting to get, of course, that 3 damage from the Genghis Frog. And if you have fewer foundations than your rival, you also get the 1/1. And less health.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we're both. I think we're yeah. So we got +1/+1 from that part,
Yep.
and we're definitely not less health though.
Definitely not less health. And we do have the low block here. So what we did was we incubating that top card, that Fateful Decision, and then it puts that Mikasa defeats the female Titan on top of our discard pile for -3 more speed with this low block from the repeated smash. Commit 1 even with checking a 3, and it doesn't land. Only 1 card left in River's hand, and it ends up being that Ackerman team up.
Oh.
For everybody that was keeping track at home, right? We've only cleared twice, right? 3?
3.
How many attacks did we play? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3. You're right. We did clear 3. It was the double blindside slash and the Hunter's Ally, which means this will get Blitz plus 6 damage. That is not plus the 3 damage from the Genghis Frog, which is going to put it to 9, and it has its own base 3 on its own. So it is only going to get up to 12. But remember, if it lands, River could draw 1 more card, and it could be another attack.
That's true. And River will be more than happy with that. Like, oh, it hit. I think we're taking that. Yeah, Jacob's just like, yep.
Have to. Going all the way down to 2 here, and we're going to draw 1 card off the top with Mikasa's ability if it is an attack. If it is something like a 4 diff, 4, 5, 6, 7, a 5 check here would easily get the job done. Even like a 4 check, if it is a 5 difficulty card, you have to be checking a 5. And there it is. It's a 5 diff on an 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. We look the hand at 2 plus the 3 damage. Do we have the high block? We do not. Game 1 going to River Cook on Mikasa Ackerman 1.
Wow, good, like heads up, just all right, trusting your deck. That's a trusting your deck.
That's a risky play to make on game 1 of top 8, right?
Yeah.
You go down to 0 cards. You are just relying on this Mikasa Ackerman team up, or this Ackerman team up to land against your opponent. It does. You draw 1 attack off the top of your deck, but it's a 5 diff, which is the hardest thing for your deck to be playing, and it goes through, and hey, the continuous high attacks from River here pay off. Not another block here. Not 4 cards in the card pool here for Jacob's defensive side. Game 1 locked in for River on turn 2.
Yeah, he broke serve and decided I'm taking this. He took advantage of like I said, Rodan. Like Jake had a very mediocre turn 2 because he just like attack, drew 5 extra cards and only goes over the mill 2 off of it.
That's true. I mean, right? I mean, we kept checking 4s off the top. And, that's one of those downsides to this Void deck, right? There are so many powerful cards in the game that have the Void symbol on them, but they check 4s. Or Mikasa's defeats the female Titan, checks a 4, but it blocks against anything. It's an Omni block for anything that you want it to be in the game. And you have this volatility of when you need to be building on 5s, and you don't check those 5s, your Rodan is very, very vulnerable.
Yeah, looks like we're going to the board here. But Jake knew exactly what to go for his board. He just literally picked up his deck, flopped I think 3 or 4 cards out, and then back in.
I feel that way a lot though, Jesse. When I go first in game 1 and it doesn't go your way, but you believe and you've structured your deck to be on the play, right? You want it to be as strong and powerful as it can be going first in game 1 as you go through a tournament like this and you go through Swiss. You can only imagine that you're like, well, most of the cards in my main deck are going to be strong anyway. I think there's a world where we care about some of the sideboard pieces that we know that Jacob has access to. More Aaron's sidestep for minus speed and extra draw defensively. Genkai's Guidance can save your life, as we saw that be the success to Phil Birch playing Rodan all the way in Atlanta so many months ago. But when you lose game 1 and you have to try to figure out what from my sideboard is going to help me on the play get the win, I don't really know if you have to change your deck all too much.
No.
On the other side, if you're River, you're feeling pretty good, right? That serve break is so important in our game because it means I think River doesn't feel a ton of pressure here having to win this game too. I think we are feeling absolutely comfortable. Still play your deck to the best of its ability, but regardless, at the end of the day, on game 3, we get to go first.
That is the hope here. We're going to take full advantage of that. We gotta just pressure this line here. I mean, River. The thing is, now River's up a game. He could play a little more. I'm not saying loose because he's up. But his deck going first. I watched his deck go first yesterday, and I was just like,
it's scary.
Wow.
That's Mikasa in general, right? I think going first is such a big idea here for River, and so that's why I think game 3 can be very advantageous. But on the other side of that, River took a lot of risk in that game. Remember, turn 1, we built double Levi's Relentless Spirit, and it was actually the key because our foundations got double triple mileage
Yes.
for what they represented actually by the quantity on the board. But it was, hey, we checked poorly on something. They ready themselves automatically. Hey, I checked well. They now commit themselves to draw me more cards, and then I can ready them up well. And then the partial mulligan here being a key to success of also going second.
Yep.
Whereas going first, and if you're something like this aggro Mikasa deck, you're a little worried sometimes of what that opening hand could be because the full mulligan you have to make that decision on could be disastrous.
Yeah, that is definitely the hope here. But looking like I saw a little glimpse of River's hand. Like he's got a really solid, a solid build. Like I think he's got a solid 5 build, like a five build going in here. I mean, he's probably gonna review, and get a nice solid 8 cards to work with.
We'll have to see what the result ends up being for them. But Jacob on the play here, cool as a cucumber, as you can see from the cam. But once we get this final shuffle over here from River, we will be jumping in to game 2. At this point, Jesse, I don't normally like to ask predictions, but do you think there's a world where this could be a 2-0 here from River going second both games?
I definitely have that feeling. I had that feeling right here, right in the center of my chest, saying I think River can come back and just 0-2 this, no problem.
For everybody at home, Jesse was gesturing to his sternum. To his sternum.
Felt right in my chest.
I feel that too. I feel that one. Maybe that's just my chest pain though for getting older. But so solid build 4 here on the side for Jake. But the cards that we did end up building, once again, that last foundation we failed because guess what? We checked a 4 again.
Yep.
But just that solid build 4 here from River. Looks like we ended up failing at that 5th one that you were thinking about. Yeah. But a second turn to build here from Jacob. I think this is the best way characters like Rodan can survive against these aggro decks. And I think River is going to have to think twice about thinking if a turn 2 aggressive play will actually be the solution to winning this game 2.
Yeah. This is not like Jacob flubbed into a hand pile of attacks and is trying to play World's Weakest to get more foundations in hand. Mm-hmm. He's just like, I'm going to double build. Good luck.
Yeah, Science Bros being one of them, of course, gives some offensive backswing potential for Jacob, which we talked about, right? 21 is not a lot of health for River to get through as this aggro machine. But on the other side of the table, Rodans love playing against 7-handers because it is also less health to get through. As we kick things off for the other star of the show last game, the blind side slash being played here from River, guaranteeing that you can get this Mikasa response. This is such a good poke in this deck too, because you don't have to commit to discarding a card from Mikasa. You know that it's going to deal a damage unless your opponent has some crazy block trick, and we can just build afterwards if we want to help solidify River's stage a little bit more and take a momentum.
Or we can pick it back up.
Oh, true. It does have that discard a card at the start of your end phase, add it to your hand, which does help you, or I guess it's your end phase, so it wouldn't work for cards like Feral Shriek, right? If you pitch those, it's not your combat phase anymore. You are in your end phase. But it is still interesting to think about. And it's funny that I bring that up.
I don't think he's playing that. He's not playing that. He's playing 3?
3 Feral Shriek, but no Wish Hearts, which is a good choice in my opinion, because that eats up attack slots in your deck.
Yeah, if you're like, there are a lot of decks that will just like, hey, I'm gonna play them because they value so efficiently in this deck, and it's like, no. And he's not even playing 4 Feral Shrieks. That's what's really interesting, because like usually the decks like this, I like this.
Wow, I'm loving all these cards that are hitting the board. So it did end up connecting, of course. Yep. Jacob takes the 1 even with the full block. Building now a Stopping for Breakfast, Tattered Costume, and
I'm going to take the momentum.
Yeah, we're going to take the momentum as well. We do have cards that do have keyword abilities on them, right? So I think it is interesting and nice to take cards like that. But having double answers to actions means things like that Barrier Shield will not be happening again in this game. But Jacob says, I need to get on the board, kicking things off here with that 100% repeated smash. Even though we checked a 3 here on it, because of what repeated smash can do for us, we're going to really only commit 1 for this. We're gonna be able to ready 1 up.
This card, this card was the hottest thing when it came out. It was the hottest card in the game. And it just slowly slid. And then Rodan came out, and then it started just like, yep, this is one of the Rodan things it needed.
Well, it makes sense, right? All those punches that people were playing on Life, and even I would say Order at some capacity, they all rotated, right? Yep. And so everyone that was playing and had their eyes on this card stopped looking at it. But like you said, at the end of the day, because it is a punch on its own, this is just a quote-unquote 4 difficulty attack
Yep.
4 high for 6, and it has EX and powerful, and it only scales better with more punches that you just put in your deck. It's just great value.
Sure is. All right, looks like we're going to do the good old incubating Science Bros combo for +1 damage.
Which is also a good way offensively. What we talked about last game, remember? We had that early incubating to start removing attack cards from our discard pile to unlock that 4 removed. Well, when we are using our incubating offensively for no downside, it gets the same job done. I also love this play. Okay, so the other ability on Science Bros, for everybody that missed it, says when you remove a card, you can commit it to draw one, and instead of readying one of the foundations that we committed due to pass the check, we just ready the Science Bros again. We have another way to draw another card if we ever remove another card, which, spoiler alert, our character does.
It looks like we're going for the block.
Is this a timely?
That's...
It's some Pearl.
It's a Pearl.
And the only reason why I ask if that is a timely is...
It's not a 3-diff, though.
It's not, okay. Yeah, I think it actually is a Pearl Ackerman team-up.
Yeah. One of the ones with a high
block.
Yeah.
And then we got that full block there. But the reason I asked is because Timely Counterattack has Breaker on it, and it's very powerful. But instead, now this Rejuvenating Smash coming in for Jacob, and we did end up using that Rodan Enhance during that last Enhance step. So we do know what the cards were going to be on top of our deck, even after we drew one.
And so the thing is huge.
It's so fast. And remember, because of the incubating plus Science Bros, we can actually start giving damage to our moves, which against a 23 health character like Mikasa goes a long way.
Yes. We're just gonna poke away at this. I'm like, hey, now we're up to 8 damage, so 8 mid-8.
Yeah, 8 damage right off the bat, which means only 2 more of these moves is enough, or that 2 more 8 damage moves is enough to end Mikasa's life. This one gonna connect very easily, and now we're in that scary situation though because we only checked the 5. We have committed 3 of our foundations. We are in that situation again where we have 2 cards in our card pool. If we want to build more foundations, depending on our checks here, it could get really bumpy.
It sure can at this point.
And River is very set up to do a turn 3 aggressive play. We have plenty of foundations. We have action cancellation in our board. And even if you get rid of the tattered costume with things like the Hacker Extraordinaire over on Jacob's side, you still have things like Stopping for Breakfast.
I would not Hacker at all. I would not give him a foundation.
That is also fair. That's fair, Jesse. That is not a resource you necessarily want to give the character that says turn in foundation sideways, draw a card.
Yeah, but look at that bit. Like, here's the thing. I was like, this was like, okay, this build is not. Look at all this speed hate. Like,
it's all speed hate.
It's all speed hate. Like
double Fateful, double Aaron Sidestep, double Incubating. The Incubatings alone to me are the freest minus speed of all time when you are pairing it up with Rodan, and it's why we've had see this character constantly have success. I'll be honest with you, very straightforward, Jesse. I don't know how powerful this character is going to be necessarily, and how many people will want to play it after cards like Incubating are gone.
Doesn't rotate.
Oh, it's Girl Power. You're right.
Girl Power.
Oh, you're right.
Get Girl Power.
And I don't know why I thought it was an undaunted.
For all we know, we're going to get more. Rodan could get some more angled support in the Godzilla set. For all we know,
that is true. They are a Godzilla character, but it looks like just another turn to build some more foundations here for River, which means we have a ton of foundations, but Jacob and Rodan as a character give so much speed, even aggressively. And now the second incubating, we can turn all of these cards in our discard pile essentially into extra bonus damage for Rodan, which means we need even less attacks to connect. But I think we are going to have to make a decision on how aggressive our hand is looking as we kick things off here with a Tri-Gravity Beam. I think this is also even just like a one-of in this deck.
Yep. Good old Tri-Gravity. And we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. I thought for a second we built it a deadlock. I'm like, oh no.
10 exactly seems to be the name of the game. Of course, open deck lists in our top cuts and our event as a whole, right? So knowing that deadlock threats exist, don't want to build too far into it. But
I mean, it was the only one, and I think it's the only real deadlock threat. There's not a lot of deadlock threats on Void.
Yeah, and in general, not a lot really in the game right now. In general, but I'm wondering, like, why are we leading with this? And the question to me is, like, well, if you have a Rejuvenating Smash, you got to lead with something, right?
Yep.
But I think we see all the time that, Rodan players are not afraid to just, like, play a foundation and then play something like a Rejuvenating Smash.
He wanted a peak. I think he wanted something like, I'm just going to let this lob this. This is a lob attack. This is the softball.
And we do have access to draw, right? We have Hacker Extraordinaire. We have the Sides Bros. And maybe that is the play. You ready?
And we wanted to Rodan.
Because our opponent, or River, went to 10, exactly.
Yep.
Hacker actually does force your opponent into deadlock. And unless their next enhance is getting rid of a foundation, we could actually still press this deadlock stun 3.
That is true. We might have to, like, I would go immediately minus, we minus 2 speed.
Like this one, this is also a way to get a foundation out of our stage if that play ends up occurring. But because the card's been removed, plus 2 more damage from the Tri-Gravity Beam, we've already used Rodan to give it a couple more stats. We're going to go ahead and press these incubatings. Whatever we want to get rid of, doesn't really matter.
Yep. -1, +1.
And we're just looking for that bonus damage here from the Science Bros response. And now all of a sudden, this Tri-Gravity Beam is for 9 damage.
Gonna go for that block.
Mid-block here. This one, I think, is the timely counterattack.
Yes.
Which, by the way, for everybody at home, another interesting tool on why people have started playing this in not just Mikasa, but in a lot of decks in general. This has Breaker 3 on it.
Sure does.
Yeah, they're going to basically try and deter as much of a turn here from Jacob, especially if the next card you want to play is something like a Rejuvenating Smash. You're going to pay for it.
Yep. I would not want, like, look at this. Jacob's counting up here. He's like, what can I, how much can I play here?
I like how we've postured. Yeah, like, I am dedicated to committing these 4 foundations here with the Breaker to play this card. I love how, at least to me, visually, you're very much saying, no, I think I am worth, or it is worth giving up these specific 4 foundations. We set them aside, and you feel very comfortable by still having, double air and sidestep, the 1 more fateful, and the 2 incubatings, and we're going to draw 2 more cards. We're going to gain 2 more health, and we're going to try and still present lethal, because remember, this one also has EX on it.
That sure does.
Won't get to 15 damage necessarily by itself, but it's going to be a scary situation for River to feel like they might have to take this one. We do have an answer to keywords, of course. The Tattered Costume is an answer to keyword abilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the line here, River, I think River's just got to, like, I think this is the attack we eat. I think this is the one that's like, hey, I'm going to have to accept this. Like, if you're going to get this to 8, 9 damage, and then we just accept it and be like, all right, I got to block everything else from here. Hopefully, maybe I can set up another breaker line.
Yeah, and even if the X comes through, maybe you feel better about holding on to that Tattered Costume if you were just going to decide to take it anyway. Save it for something like canceling a Barrier Shield or a Genkai's Guidance that we have already seen Jacob check this game.
Or just cancel the breaker.
That also works too.
Like,
yeah.
Like,
Any deterrent, right, that you're trying to do here as this defensive deck. But hey, speaking of, how about Repeated Smash, a punch, and so is Rejuvenating Smash. So we talked about how the mileage of this card does end up going up, and that's probably why Jacob felt more comfortable about a Genkai's Guidance of River's Own here. It does have the air symbol. Says that we can destroy 3 of these foundations, play this, and there's not currently an answer on the board for Jacob to deal with this, and it's going to slow down that ability that would potentially ready 2 foundations for Jacob. This is a great play.
Yeah. This is what we... because he's like, all right, I'll pass the check, and you're like, no. Okay, cool. Like, that's one of the ones where I would have loved to have seen a check. He checks a 3 on the 7, and you're like, all right, I'm going to ready 2 of these. It's like, no.
It's devastating, right?
Yeah.
And that itself is going to spell the end of Jacob's turn and only a build 1 afterwards, respecting any deadlock game of River's Own. And it is that Mikasa defeats the female, which basically gives us an Omni block. But again, we committed quite a few foundations. This is River's time to shine. And although we had to sacrifice 3 foundations to play the ability on that Genkai's Guidance, we can do a lot with a little in this character.
I think if his hand is aggressive enough, we're going to target commit. I think we target commit one of the incubatings. I think that, or it's either the incubating or the Mikasa defeats.
Yeah, because we have the fire symbol, we are able to play these wonderful promo, as you can see in the stage, killing the old ways.
Looks like we decided not.
We said no, so I pulled it up for no reason.
Yeah.
But you're right, we do have a first form. It's just a flip selective committal of anything of your choice. And I would think, cards like those Aaron sidesteps, the incubatings, I think are real answers. But instead, we've got this Hunter's Ally coming in here, and unless there is a cancel for the Blitz or the ability of itself, we're going to be able to build in any ally card from our discard pile, looking for the Toad once again. And there he is. Genghis Frog is back on the board with the, I forgot, the Ooze treatment.
The Ooze treatment.
The Ooze treatment.
Yeah, he's come. This is a good decision here, which is would start pressing damage. Now Jacob's like, hey, I'm coming in. It's really we're looking for how many extra cards can we draw here.
Yeah, because it's great that Mikasa has the ability to scale the speed, but at the end of the day, discard one card is a real cost unless you can constantly refill your hand. And
Yep.
building cards like Genghis Frog is great for you to give damage and maybe potentially play less attacks, but you still have to have the attacks to play.
Yep.
Getting some minus speed here.
Not a lot. But
Not a lot, yeah. That, at least for the block mod, that's not a very high one. And then also, if we incubate it, it's only minus one more. But the Hunter's Ally here, not the fastest thing in the world because the attacks only get faster later if you're Mikasa, and you have to be pressing that response on play. So this is the easiest one to block, of course, and there it is with that +4 block modifier from a supersonic flight. Easy block, fully done, denying that damage, which means River is not going to be able to draw. This is a crazy cool looking promo.
This is the alt
Team up? Or is it
Advanced.
blind?
What's it called? I believe this is the Onslaught.
Whoa.
Scroll up.
Whoa. I was like, Onslaught? I was like, I don't even think we're playing that one.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, we are. Okay,
Playing some
yeah,
Twirling
everybody at
Onslaught.
home, yeah, we're playing up the Twirling Onslaught. Of course, this is the alternate art version. But yeah, I like this one because it lets you grab a different weapon from your discard pile that you want to play with right now at Blitz speed, right?
Yep.
This is another one of those, AOT 3 cards that it's not a lot of damage, but when you have things like Genghis Frog, 5 base speed goes a long way. It's very much like our own impersonation of World's Weakest Hunter.
Yep. But the best part is we used a Feral Shriek on the discard, so we valued our line here, and like
And there's that Hunter's Ally going back into our hand that we just cleared off of using Mikasa.
and now we're like, oh, we have. He's like, do you have ally targets? And I see build a foundation.
Yeah, there's a recuse the agency trainees that we just saw. I would look for even things like Masho's Concealment. Kiyomi is a great one. That one gets extra foundation mileage or extra draw just by playing the clear game plan.
Yep.
Which
We get 2 activations to do that. I that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean, Kiyomi would be a great one to play. Of course, we're going to end up having to play that Hunter's Ally on a 6. So if anything like difficulty increasers coming from Jacob or check hacks would be nice to be able to pull off here. But remember, if there's things like Breaker, we do have Tattered Costume to deal with that, like you said earlier. But we're going to give some minus speed. Incubating's going off here. Also the Rodan Enhance. So even though this was a 5 base speed move, and we got 1 extra speed from using Mikasa, very quickly is just going to go to back to 5, and then even lower depending on how many resources Jacob wants to use.
Yeah, we're gonna see what. Yeah, this is definitely the good pressure attack here in the situation. Jacob's got to make. We got to hey, I gotta eat this.
Got to take it to the face. Going down to 13. Hunter's Ally coming in here on a 6. Checks a 3, though. But things like incompatible quirks that we have on our stage are going to go a long way, at least for doubling up. But only having those 2. And we also have a wait list, right? Which can also function as a ready for one of these face downs. Getting that Mikasa response on play. Discard 1 card. We're going to get the extra clear off here. And then we are also going to get things moving here with whatever ally we would like to get into our stage.
Yeah, we're gonna. This is another decision of hey, I'm gonna build it. Oh, yep, we're going for it. We're gonna go over here.
There's the Kiyomi. Now this again is only gonna work until we clear another card, which means we must have another attack in River's hand, and we also have another card in our hand that we are willing to discard to pay that cost to get that clear going.
Yeah, Rivers. We're looking at this. We're just gonna We're just gonna start readying up our board like incompatible.
That card's nuts. I think that card is nuts.
Yep.
I won't miss that one.
I will not miss that one.
It's very good. But yeah, so we're looking over here for cards that have been readied. So moving those a little bit separate just to keep them in mind. Of course, Incompatible doesn't actually care if it's been readied over and over again. It can just ready itself. Just to keep those in mind for everybody. But we are continuously still using minus speed on the side of Jacob, going to try and fight against the scaling speed that River gives. But, we saw this in Game 1. How many high attacks will continuously get played? What is going to continue to happen over and over and over again? And when it eventually comes down to the moves that have the most speed, the lethal damage, do we have the right block at the right time? We're even just using these barrier shields to block with because you're staring across the tattered costume, you have to just get it mileage out of the block.
And that's his last barrier shield. He has checked all the other barrier shields.
That's true, especially right here, yeah, with the check. So getting that full block, though, goes a long way. And remember, barrier shield does not count towards progressive while it's in the card pool.
Yep.
But it looks like that is going to be it for the attacks over on River's turn. And instead, just getting the Kiyomi and the Genghis Frog down here for setup. We have to survive, though, and only being at 6, it's going to be very scary.
Looks like we do have an update from the other matches in the on the background here. Looks like Ezra has taken down TamCardwell.
There it is.
Crystal Lens moving on.
Crystal Lens moving on to your top 4. Which is great. I mean, we've seen Ezra play that Krista deck now, not just here, but in Louisville, and making this top 4 appearance is going to go a long way when it comes to championship points for him. So congratulations to Ezra for moving on. And, maybe we'll be able to highlight that one maybe next round, per se.
Who knows?
But we've got this World Weakest Hunter coming in here on the side for Jacob. And, again, we saw this have a lot of value in Game 1, but now we are trying to not just use this to get more damage through, but River's only at 6 with these Incubatings and Rodan. This one actually gets up to lethal from the Science Bros procs.
Yep. And look at this. Like, we used Incubating to get back to the Supersonic Flight to get +4 speed and draw a card. Like, we're just like, hey, I'm coming in with this. And we have EX still.
Yeah, are still staring across that tattered costume, but yeah, we can still, like, at this point, things like Hacker feel a lot better. That we still have access to. We've been banking on this momentum. Now we're up to 8 mid for 6.
I don't know. Yep, we're going to EX once.
This might be the Hacker. Or it is the EX. Okay, but because we didn't deal with it, it is going to get canceled, and it's an extra draw for River here, which means we don't have to deal with any more speed, but this is already incredibly fast. Gets the incompatible quirks ability, readies it up while removing this foundation, and you can still use it for -2 speed now, as we have done it. But an Aries Smiles half block here.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Doing the math, I think it's completely tapping out for it.
Yep.
And so this is a real decision we have to make, because if this is the only attack you're getting off, maybe you're like, but because of the partial, you're still going to be able to draw the 3 cards from Jacob. There's no way we don't draw a non-attack card to weave in between here, right?
You gotta at least try.
Yeah. Partial coming through here. Still going to take 3.
Draw 3.
Draw 3 cards off of the World's Weakest Hunter. And yes, the Aries Smile does say that we have to play a non-attack card of our next form and pass, which is really good for stopping things like a Rejuvenating Smash. But I think one more attack is basically going to spell curtains here for River in this game 2. But it's okay, because River won Game 1. Game 3 is something on the table for both of these players.
We got 50 minutes.
Yeah, we got so much time.
Yeah, and we're just like, hey, we're going to World Weakest Hunter here.
Another EX move for us to be playing. We already know that it can get to lethal on its own. It will now get to lethal on half, so that things like that Aries Smile cannot happen again. And so now River is now staring at death in the face. But got to make your opponent go through the motions, right?
Oh, yeah.
Always got to make them do it.
I think we're going to remove. Yeah, he's just like, yeah, what's
there it is. Game 2 going to Rodan for Jacob. That means we've got ourselves a match. And for the first time in this match, River is going to be able to go first on this aggressive machine of a deck.
That's probably the hope he needs here, because he needs Jacob to have that shaky 4 build. Like a 7-hand sizer with 8 cards, and they only get a 4 build, and he gets a solid 4 or 5 build. I don't know, like, if Jacob has the line for that, protection enough to protect himself.
Well, sadly, Jacob got paired against the only non-Hizuru's hope. So we are going to have to do a lot of hoping on our own if we want that to end up happening, because this Mikasa Ackerman from set 1 of AOT is putting in a lot of work when it comes to, making Rodan have to have the specific answers at the right time.
Yeah, well, it looks like we're checking. Jacob's going to look at the sideboard because he's going second now. It's like, hey, do I need to make any adjustments here? And he's like, nope, I think I'm good. Both players are in the I think we're good mode.
Makes sense to me. Moving things along. Doing a pile shuffle here over for River. Just to make sure that a lot of these attacks, and you see these when you remove cards like Feral Shrieks and stuff like that, you want to make sure they're not stacking, of course. But we're going to give a good shuffle. We have our wonderful table judge George making sure that we get things going as well. So we're going to give that cut. But Jacob not really reaching into his sideboard at all this entire match, which I think spells a lot for, at least for me, like feels very comfortable at playing against these aggressive center decks, not needing a ton of tools from the sideboard,
No.
even if you grab one or two.
I think
of
he
them,
grabbed
right?
you grabbed a few cards.
Yeah.
I think he pulled in 2 Latin entering game 2, and he's like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. And I think he's just, once again, we're just like, River can, like I said, River can race cars to this deck, which is perfectly possible, but he just has to put everything together. We're checking. It looks like
I was doing a bracket update. I see. I think one of our matches of Ryan Levine versus Constantine is going on to game 3, is what it looks like.
Yep.
But I think also their judge is doing a little bit of a consultation over here. So Ezra over here enjoying a nice morning refreshment. Feeling very good about that win. Moving on to top 4. And in our other match, not really sure on the game state, of course, but we do have Kyle versus Will here. First versus 8th seed right in front of us. And they get to listen to me kind of ramble and talk about them for a little bit. Oh, thank you. That means so much. Wonderful event this weekend. Our players, I think, even a lot on the stakes for a lot of them, whether it's day 2 qualifications for some players, day 1 qualifications, some people trying to break their way into that top 8, getting their trips compensated for.
River comes in second. He's in top 8.
That's true. Yeah, I remember. Nick Reagan pulled me aside this morning and was giving me the math breakdown, and I was like, Nick, I did this at dinner last night, so I already know how it's
dinner last night.
You don't want to know, and I don't want to say it on stream publicly because I'm disappointed at where we went.
Oh, but I know.
I really wanted to go to Duff's. I was recommended Duff's by.
Are you here? Do you have to leave tonight, or
no? The goal is I'm trying to go to Niagara Falls. If we, I'm doing the first 2 rounds of commentary today. So for finals, I will still be here and watching, but I'm trying to change and get ready and get an Uber ready to go. I'm trying to go and see the sights a little. I've never been here to New York, so. But I'm hoping maybe some nice dinner place tonight, as we're going to have plenty of time.
Between Niagara Falls and back, there's plenty of options.
But as we get back into our action, Game 3 getting underway with 46 minutes remaining for these players. River getting a wonderful build 4 to kick things off. Double Ryukyu agency trainees and a Defiant Stance, basically for the first time this match. At least one that we didn't lose right away afterwards.
Look, that is...
Those are not...
okay.
Okay.
We pulled a hand together.
I thought we had double Science Bros as well, so...
All right, what do we got here?
So I had production come over and tell me that we're going to Niagara Falls later today, everybody. So, but of course that doesn't not the importance right now, as we're going to try and get this very nice build 4. Going for the risk here of build 5 with the 4, but it checks out. Not really a risk. If we check a 3, we can pass it. Build 5 for Jacob. Great setup here. But what explosivity can we see come from River here on this turn 2?
Yeah, this is the. We gotta pressure this. I think this is like I said, this is the turn you pressure.
And this is another great one. We saw this card be the best lead-in attack for River to have success in Game 1. Blind Side Slash, guaranteeing to get some damage through. And when you have cards like Defiant Stance, you're basically committing 0 resources to get that job done.
Yeah, we're getting in for 1. We're getting in for, it's like, hey, you can reduce the speed of this all you want. I'm getting in for my 1.
Minus speed coming through.
Yep.
Of course, we have double incubating right off the get-go, which I think is huge for Jacob. We already talked about, obviously, Rodan giving the repeatable. We even still have the Rodan commit ability to figure out what the top 2 cards of our deck are and rearrange them if we so choose. But this very, very slow Blindside Slash is going to even lead +4 block modifiers that we know this deck plays. Going to be easy to pull off here. But I think this is the same situation as Game 1. Jacob feels comfortable maybe just taking it right to the chin.
Also, an interesting thing is, we can double incubating everything. This is only this is not EV. Jacob hasn't even played his second turn. That discard pile is very light.
Yeah. When you have double incubating this early on in a game, plus Rodan's ability, you're right. You're not necessarily putting enough cards in your discard pile fast enough to be able to constantly press all of those buttons. you could just run out of a discard pile, which is what you do not
like we're
want.
gonna ride some lightning.
Yeah, we get a nice showcase here of some more Guilty Gear cards as a new weapon has entered the fold for the air symbol with Ride the Lightning. Now, of course, Jacob does not have 6 foundations committed, but this still just say on deal draw card, which is what Mikasa says, and this nice static ability of being able to stop responsibilities during this attack, making your opponent have to commit an extra foundation, do go a long way. There's randomly just a lot of stuff that the static hits.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you want a breaker? Commit one.
Yeah.
Okay. Additional costs can get really heavy in this matchup.
If we wanted to draw a card off of our Science Bros.
Yep.
Hey, commit a bonus one.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a solid pressure card in this situation.
It's got good stats, right? 4 min for 5 on a 4 diff feels pretty good. It's got weapon, it's got charge, it's got spell if you're looking for any of those synergies. And again, it's just like doubles up what your character does. And you can choose to use this one ability first, draw the card from the Ride the Lightning, and then you get to make the decision if you want to maybe commit the additional resource as Mikasa to draw another one. So I think seeing as many cards sequentially in effects goes a long way, right?
Yep. It looks like we're gonna use the sidestep here for -2 speed on top of our abilities. We're going to go for the full block. Yep. And we're going to respond with trainee.
Yeah, so this says the next foundation that River plays this turn will build down automatically, and the 3 diff, like Levi's Relentless Spirit, is probably the best one this deck can build down in the middle of the turn, because once again, this foundation, when you need it to, functions essentially as 4 foundations in a turn.
Yeah, this is...
Love it. I love Ryuki's agency trainings, man. Yeah, the card's so good.
All right. Now River's got to think. He's like, all right, we did this. We got the build.
Looks like we are getting a little bit of an update in the bracket. I believe your Swiss champ, Kyle, playing Devilgen, has moved on to top 4. So now we have currently a Crystal Lens and a Devilgen in top 4 right now.
It's gonna be interesting if any of the Mikasa hopes get in there. Like
2 have already lost.
Yeah, 2 down. We got Constantine is over there against Ryan Levine and still going. And then we got our stream match. And look at this. We're going to keep going.
Yeah, this one is the timely counterattack coming in here for River. Very nice 3 diff that you can play in and weave between. But getting that Mikasa ability, getting that cleared out of the way, being able to figure out how many more attacks we want to continuously play. But regardless, while you are playing this Mikasa ability, you are scaling up this speed onto your attacks eventually when you need it to really matter, especially when you're playing against things like Rodan. But it looks like we're going to end up taking this to the face, going down to 14, getting now extra bonus draws from Mikasa, getting the bonus draws, readying the extra cards in your stage, such as from the Levi's Relentless Spirit. And we have now made another decision here for River. Do we keep pushing the envelope? Do we have any more gas in the tank?
I would keep going. I want him to burn cards. There's cards that Jacob's holding. I want him to play his blocks here.
Yeah, I mean, I think like this is the scariest turn if you're Jacob, right? Depending of like this is the fewest foundations you're going to have the entire game, right? But it's up to River also how much he wants to extend. And if I'm River, knocking the Rodan deck down to 14 is really nice because that's way less you have to deal with later. Getting some more solid foundations here, getting that incompatible quirks and another Defiant stance, River has set themselves up to have an incredible turn 3 offensive play as well, and it puts more pressure on Jacob to play good defense. And for you to play good defense, how many attacks do you feel like you have to play? But it looks like a second build turn. Actually, how about this Rejuvenating Smash? Checking a 4 is better than checking the 3 here.
Yep.
But it is still not ideal. But the second card, gaining 2, going back up to 16, and drawing 2 more cards. And a military airship is guaranteed to be in your stage.
Yeah. Military airship with this lineup can be detrimental. Because there's just so many options of pickups. It's like, oh, I'll block with this. Like, all right, I'll pick it back up.
Double block mod. It's just being able to play a block twice or clear that progressive. I mean, that's literally one of the few ways we see Rodan. Rodan is usually never struggling to block because of speed numbers.
Yeah.
It is cards in hand and cards in their own card pool that essentially function as more versions of speed. So getting a way to buy back one of those cards, even if it's defensively, makes a lot of sense. But
all
we're
the value.
Yeah, we're getting all this value here, and it's so fast, and we're going to start getting all this damage as well from the Incubating plus Science Bros, and we've even used that Botan Enhance, or Botan's Coaching Enhance, during this attack, so we're even going to be able to snap a momentum off the attack from the other ability on Rejuvenating Smash.
Yeah, and this is getting into that situation where it's like, okay, how much can he value on this? And that's like, once again, we're just doing the prioritize. Look, we only have 5 cards in discard right now.
Yeah, but trying to get as much damage in as soon as possible. And this is 9 speed already. River has to consider if we want to block it, but no, we're going to take the 8 straight to the face. But still sitting at 15 for Mikasa is going to feel pretty good. And how much more is Jacob trying to push the envelope? And how many of these foundations do we get to play afterwards? And what do we check matters as well.
Oh, yeah. We check some 3s here. This could get scary.
We committed Rodan to pass a check. We did not commit Rodan to guarantee what the cards on top of our deck were. So we have to play around that quite a bit. Checks a 3 here on this 4.
Another Incubating.
Yeah, 3rd Incubating is going to be massive.
But it doesn't have... He only has like 10 cards in discard.
Yeah, I mean,
we just failed. We just like, nope, I do not want to commit.
It's not worth it, right? I mean, that card doesn't help us stay alive, and we would have to commit 2 more of our defensive resources to even get that in our stage. 1 foundation by committing 2 is enough to make us lose the game, and we are basically relying on triple incubating in our character for minus speed, and we have 1 free Omni block because of this. Mikasa defeats the female Titan, but remember, cards in River's deck include keywords like stun, so these foundations might even still get, threatened.
Yeah. I think the play here is, we're just going to build. He's like, hey, I don't have the gas.
Yeah, if you don't have enough, just build for 1 more turn. And, Jacob held back a little bit, didn't necessarily build a ton of foundations in their stage either.
Here we go.
So now it is going to be up again, or it's going to be once again for Jacob, how much damage can you get through? River should be at 15. I know the life totals haven't updated, at least for them, but 15 is very easy to do when you have triple incubating Science Bros on your side of the board. You are essentially, across Rodan and those cards, you're going to get a bonus 4 damage to all of your attacks.
Now here's the thing. Okay. That's going to help because that's going to fuel. It's like, okay, you want to... You're just like, I'm going to go down to 3 incubatings and a Science Bros.
I mean, these are the best 4 foundations in Jacob's stage, and it's not close, right?
Yeah.
And again, I think River's deck does still function very well on few foundations. I think the only reason why we built, obviously, was just that we didn't draw attacks. But things like Levi's Relentless Spirit, this Incompatible Quirks, we're even prioritizing here this Ryuki Agency Trainees. And whatever this 4th card is, looks like potentially either another Ryukyu's or... this Defiant Stance.
Yep.
These 4 foundations and the same idea for River go a long way, that you can still put up a strong offensive threat. And if anything, this is telling me that Jacob is like, I'm trying to play this, get some value, and build out and try and basically swap the axis of I went second this game. I have the stage advantage, though.
Yep. The thing is, one wrong check, and we're the thing is we have Rodan. And Rodan, I don't think Rodan's only looking at the top 2 still.
I don't know. We've removed everything, right? I think it's actually just dependent on how many attacks we've checked, right?
Yep.
But yeah,
we're just counting up now. It's okay. I'm gonna start eating my discard pile.
Yeah, and even though this unyielding destruction only has 2 base speed, again with Rodan with the Science Bros, we are getting it's up to 6 mid for 10 right now.
Yep.
Just by playing all the enhances that we have access to in our stage. You really feel like you have to block this one. Genghis Frog with a 0 mid block feels really nice to get that done, though. And it will end up in our discard pile for things like Hunter's Ally to grab later.
Yep. All right, we blocked threat 1. But what about threat number 2?
But how much more can you push the envelope when you also put yourself down to 4 foundations?
Yeah, you could check a 3 here, and because he didn't Rodan. He didn't
Rodan. We did not guarantee what was coming.
Nope, we're just going to build.
Yeah, build a couple more foundations. Again, swap the access and dynamic of this game. Have more foundations in the stage, but only 6 doesn't necessarily go a long way to me when you're staring across things like Defiant Stance and Incompatible Quirks and Levi's Relentless Spirit, because those essentially function as, 2 for 1s, 3 for 1s, in the same idea of just Jacob having the raw number of foundations.
Yep. And here we go. We're going to start off.
Blind slide slash, checking a 3, of course, but we have that Levi's Relentless Spirit that as soon as this connects, we can get that foundation back, and the foundation you can commit to draw a card off of for Riverside could just be that Defiant Stance, still have a completely readied stage even after this attack connects.
Going into our stun 1, get that Botons down, which more than fine to happen in this situation. But now here's the thing is, like, you have... I think we're going to prioritize just rely on Rodan because we need those. We need the cards to discard to come back.
Yeah,
like we want to apply damage to these. Like we want to try to 1-shot here, 2-shot on the next turn with Jacob. It's like I need cards in discard pile to do that.
And we have successful pieces to do that. I think the card I did see in Jacob's hand was a Ice Sword Execution, which alone gets to 10 damage by itself with 1 momentum, and with the combination of the 3 incubatings in our character, would get up to 14 damage. And as long as I'm right about the life total, River should only be at 15, even though it hasn't been updated here. So that 1 attack is almost lethal on its own, but we are getting that response from the Science Bros. After you remove a card, we're going to go ahead and draw another piece, but it is another committed foundation. That is good if you're looking as River. You're like, great, less fun, and we're going to commit our character. Yes, you're going to look at the top 4 cards and guarantee what they could end up being.
Those are three attacks.
3 attacks and a Genkai's Guidance, which means our checks are not looking good here.
Because we're probably trying to draw that Genk. We have to block this. We need to put it like the problem is we got to get through some bad checks to then be able to probably draw because he has rejuice in hand. Like we could draw those Genkais.
Yeah, so basically we have to have one of these cards is the check to play our first block.
Yep.
The second card is the check to play the Rejuvenating Smash, and then those last 2 are the cards that you will be drawing off of that response, assuming everything goes well. Mm-hmm. So if you want to draw the Genkai's Guidance, it means you have to check 2 3s.
Yep.
If you want to draw those attacks for the backswing, you're giving up the chance to get that Genkai's Guidance, but you're going to check a 5. So with that being said, I think we are reassessing the cards in our hand. We even have a Barrier Shield. That's another check.
Yep.
So you can Jacob is in a position where a lot of this order very much matters, not just in general of the game, but
he has
multiple Barrier Shield.
Yep.
I think I saw 2 of them as well. But it is just the situation where however many of these cards end up being used for checks don't necessarily have to be for the blocks. They could be for action cards and other things of the sort. So the order here is crucial on what Jacob thinks is the keys for his success to close this game out and also to stay alive.
Yeah, this is a line here. We'll see what he can decide on. This is I really think we're just checking everything. We're like, hey, we got to make this is probably my final. This may or may not be his final turn if how this goes.
I think we're using the enhance here. Or no, that was just the full block. And we did air and sidestep. This will still deal 1. So that was our 1 check. With the air and sidestep, remember, enhance, we are going to draw one of those cards that we stacked on top as well. It looks like we were fine getting rid of one of these Rejuvenating Smashes on top of our deck. It will still deal the damage. River will get all of their responses. And also because it was blocked, we can use this Ryukyu Agency Trainees to then accelerate our stage a little bit more after being reset down to 4.
And let's see if we have something good here. That's
pressing the advantage.
That's extra draw card.
Bonus draw when you use a clear, which could happen right here, of course, is really nice, but not necessarily like the most ideal foundation. But a second blind side slash is nice, not just for the stun, but again, another guaranteed attack that will deal damage.
Yeah, and we're going to do this. We're going to clear, pitch for the clear that, and ooh.
It was a Hunter's Ally, I believe.
Yes, that's good. That's what we need here.
And we have to always keep in mind, too, that, like, this is Mikasa's response on plays. If something like that Genkai's Guidance was added to Jacob's hand based off of what he decided to stack, all of these things that River is doing at the response on play timing is all free game for him, for them. But now there is still a window that if Jacob doesn't want to deal with this attack, we could play something like a Genkai's Guidance. But if you play the Genkai's Guidance now, it functions as your second card, which means blocking with the Rejuvenating Smash is not the same mileage. But then you're still in this other tough situation. If you half block this blindside slash, you're taking a little bit more damage. Mm-hmm. It's only 1 more, but like it's still, when it comes to the margins of this game, you want to be at as much life as you can, but you would take the 2, you would gain the 2, essentially not netting anything there, but just drawing those cards off the top of your deck. And if Jacob is in a situation this turn that he does have to use the Genkai's Guidance, we're only going to have 3 foundations going back into his turn.
Yeah.
Stun that face down, that Aaron sidestep that we used earlier.
Like, this is starting to get into, like, and that's, like, here's the thing, is gain that Hunter's Ally he just drew, you just got to check well on that.
Yeah.
That's what he's hoping for.
I mean, it's the aggro deck. You got to typically check well
I know.
in general.
But we're still incubating this. We're like, all right, we're going to incubate down. We need...
Use the resources. You know what you want to be playing here as Jacob as your next block. Here comes that Rejuvenating Smash. Checks a 3 that we knew was going to be there,
yep.
which means I think we are going to be drawing. We drew that Genkai's Guidance, and I believe that was the Ascend to Battle, which we now know is in Jacob's hand.
Yep.
Half block. This will connect, but we will gain to the draw 2, of course. And we still have access to things like that military airship to either rebuy this Rejuvenating Smash or this Barrier Shield if we also choose.
Yeah. I think we're going to respond draw.
Yeah, did deal.
Yep. That's the one. That's a good choice to do with the Incompatible Cork here. And
Hunter's Ally on a 6. Checks the 5. That's a good one if you are looking for River to take down this game 3. Commits this face down, and we can only imagine we'll get removed with this Incompatible Quirks as long as we make it to the enhanced step. And now this response on play will get played through. Is there potentially a response from Jacob?
I want Jacob to blow up 3 foundations all day.
Yeah, I mean, it's a crazy back and forth, right? Like,
yep.
Is that what you want to see have happen here? But I think we are moving on to the Blitz. It looks like as we go to the enhanced step, Genghis Frog, once again for the 3rd time this match, has hit the stage.
Yep. And we're going to ready up our Cork.
Yeah, +3 damage to all of our moves now for the rest of this turn. Going to help to chew through the remaining 15 that we have to get through. The military airships coming through here, though, picking up that barrier shield. Even though it didn't count towards progressive, the ability on that card is so powerful that we're going to see right here being used as the enhance. Set this attack speed down to 0, and the next card that Jacob will play will gain Breaker 2.
Mm-hmm. I think they're just kind of... But once again, we're just the finite resources Jacob's discard pile currently. We're just like we're burning it down, and I think we're back to like sub 5 cards. Which
is fine though. I mean, like as long as we keep making checks, we keep playing more action. You know, these barrier shields for the enhances, getting this easily blocked
on a 5.
Yeah, but it's at negative a million speed. It's going to check. You know, basically regardless if that was a 3 or not. Fully blocked, no damage done, and still plenty of resources on Jacob's side. And now River is slowly losing resources of their own. How many more attacks do we have? We have to play through Breaker 2.
Yeah, we have to play for Breaker 2 here. But if I say for... We could... maybe we got a timely? Nope, we're going to... Ooh.
Violent Animus Shot would be on a 5. -2 to our check. 3, 4, 5. It'd be commit 2 foundations. We checked a 4.
2.
So yeah, checked a 2. It's commit all of our foundations now for this Violent Animus Shot. And you do get the priority of a response on play here as River... But if you pass that response up, then Jacob could be like, wow, you're completely tapped out, and you didn't clear a card out of your card pool? Yeah, I'm more than happy to play this Genkai's maybe. You still have +1 progressive. What are you going to do about it, basically?
I think he's verifying timings and stuff like that.
Hey, is this response on play? Are you pressing the button? And I think River is not going to do it. We'll find out. Pitching a Genkai's Guidance of their own. Gets the clear. I think this is the 3rd one. The 2nd one of the turn. Blindside. Did we play 2? Blindside, and then the Hunters. So 3. Yep. It'll get +3 speed, plus the 3 damage from the Genkai's. And we have moved on to the enhanced step. So we are going to remove another one of these foundations and ready this Incompatible Quirks. Just keeping track of cards that have been readied this turn.
Yep.
That matters for things like Kiyomi.
Yes.
If that ever hits the stage. So that is why they're keeping track of that for everybody at home. And then we are on this, this Violent Animus Shot. And, the Barrier Shield has been used by Jacob, but we still have all this other minus speed.
We have another Barrier Shield.
And it looks like that is the enhance that's going to be going off right now, setting the speed back to 0 on this. And another Breaker 2 could be coming through here. The question is for me is, do we have another full block? And I believe we do have that high. Even more
we're
minus.
still eating.
I mean, that's the best part about Barrier Shield in this character, right? Set it to 0, and then you still can use all the other resources for minus speed. Put it down to -2, 3, 4 speed.
You have to high block this. Like, I don't think he has a high block.
Oh, I guess you're right. I thought I did see one, but even if it ends up being a partial, the Breaker 2 I think is enough to feel comfortable. But that damage proc will go through on this Violet.
We could lose our
Genkai's or an attack that we were wanting to use to end the game with. It could be scary, and if we end up blocking with an attack, I think that is send to battle.
Yep. So it's a +0. Yep, +0.
Is it a high block?
I thought Ascend was a mid.
I don't even know.
It's been a minute.
It's also only a 1. It is a high block. I was right. Okay. Yeah, so it ended up going through. Full block, that's what I thought. I was like, I think we have a high block. So full block there, and the Breaker 2, of course, which makes me feel like this can only be the end of River's turn.
Yep. We're counting the discard pile. We're like, how many
cards you got? I mean, Jacob loses if we cycle, right? But I don't think Jacob's game plan is the game is not going to last that long. We have to use these resources as they hit our discard pile because we're using things like incubating and our character. But the double breaker stop here is basically the best defensive line you can ask if you're Jacob, with the rejuvenating smash and only like the 3 damage we've taken across this turn, still being at a healthy 15, even with like a let's say there's a team up.
Yep.
Okay. Even if there's a team up, it's on a 5. We would have to ride the lightning. If it's on a 5, we'd have to check well, tap completely out. We check to 3 on this 5, which is tap out, which means we don't get to use Mikasa's responsibility.
Yep.
This Ride the Lightning will only draw us 1 card on damage dealt. It comes in with the 3 damage, which is great. Incompatible quirks will have the ability to ready itself.
He's like, I would like to respond.
Yeah, I was like, we're on responses on play. Obviously, I don't have any because I'm tapped out. Do you have any?
Yep.
And the question here for Jacob is that if he does use something... Man, I thought the Genkai's Guidance was in our hand, but I guess
it is.
Oh, there it is. It's hiding in the back. Okay. So if we end up using that, we just put our own stage in detriment of trying to close this game out.
Yep.
But I think you let this one go. You have a mid block.
He's deciding. It's like, how many attacks are gone? I think we're counting it. He's like, yep, he is doing math. He's like, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, so 4 mid for 8 on this Ride the Lightning. We're going to go ahead and remove this foundation, ready up the incompatible quirks. We are going to press our Rodan enhance. We're going to press these incubatings. We're going to exchange speed. Remember, again, we tapped out. We can't use the Mikasa response. It is just a base 4 mid. But now with all the minus speed coming through, any mid block on the side of Jacob is going to be able to block it. And then, like, what else can you do now? Because the only readied card on River's stage is that incompatible quirks, and we still have 2 cards in our card pool. So another full block coming in here, even if it was something like a team up. The point I was trying to get at is that we've cleared 3 cards now, 4 cards.
I think we cleared 3.
So 6 damage onto our 3 damage, puts the other 6. It only gets up to 12.
Yeah.
It's not lethal, and because Mikasa's committed, you can't give it any bonus speed. Jacob could just find a way to block it, even with 4 cards in the card pool.
Yep.
It's very
River is valiant, is in a valiant effort situation. He's like, hey, I'm gonna push you around, like, and just baby Jake is burned through so much things. You could draw 1 attack, and it's like, but maybe all he needs is 1 attack though.
Yeah. Remember, also the military airship has been used defensively.
Yep.
Not going to have access to that, at least as like a way to buy back an attack. Of course, we know Jacob has an Ice Sword Execution, which is representing basically lethal almost on its own.
Yeah, basically 13 damage.
Yeah, and so
with on board,
15, I think. Yeah,
5, 10, 14. Right, because it's a 5
yes,
5.
Sorry, yes, 14.
5 from the bone from its freeze ability,
and then our 4 removes. Yeah,
yep.
Yeah, you're right. So 14, and I believe again, unless I'm just wrong about life totals, but I'm pretty sure we've already hit with a rejuvenating smash. I'm pretty sure River's at 15 this game.
Yeah.
And it looks like that is going to be the end of River's turn, only keeping the 1 card in hand, only 2 foundations in stage, only 1 of which is ready. Passing back to Jacob. Going to get a review here, too.
You know what I would do?
Review the Genkais?
No, I play the Genkais.
Oh, we're getting rid of that last card in the
Just feel
hand.
like I had free hit and just call it a free and just like
That
hit.
is pretty smart, but in case River has a Genkais of their own, but it is being like, hey, I think if you're River, you're like, wow, you had a Genkais as well.
3 attacks.
Double Ice Sword Execution, I think, can only be curtains for this. Although it's going to get that, hey, I'm going to tap down this incompatible quirks, and yes, it could ready itself, but you do get another foundation out of River's stage, even for that cost. So even checking the 3 here is not too bad. And we have plenty of momentum to make this work. And like you said, even committing one of these incubatings, damage I don't think is going to be the struggle.
No. Because now we're going to just start freezing up the board and be like, okay, what do you got?
Very quickly here, Jacob going to go through the motions. Make sure not to overextend, of course. You don't want to like fall into a threat where like your only other option here is like you play another attack and you get Genkais under, or I guess we can't get Genkais. We're only staring across 2 foundations.
That's all 5 checks.
That's great if you're just trying to pass checks. He goes, the order of this does not matter. Spend a momentum off the Ice Sword Execution. Freeze the Levi's Relentless. Put this Supersonic Flight on top of our discard pile for a bonus draw, but I don't even think you care about it, right? Because you want to check these 5s.
He was won't respond, but he was like, yep, +4 speed. +5 speed, +1 damage.
That's right. Are going to take the draw, though. Take that Aaron sidestep on top of our hand, and all of a sudden I think we are very quickly approaching the end of this match. Still have our other top 8 match still being played right now as I'm looking over at them.
They're at like 15. They're like sub 15 minutes.
I got about 16 minutes left as we all kind of started roughly at the same time. Ice Sword Execution hitting, knocking River down to 2.
Yep.
As the second Ice Sword Execution gets played here on a 6. Checks a 5. Things like Genkai's Guidance aren't even playable for River.
Yep.
We'd have to have some crazy miracle block here. Plus more speed. Plus more damage.
Yep.
As we remove our last foundation, name, and there's the fist bump. Game 3 and the match going to Jacob Hyatt on Rodan, moving on to top 4.
So currently, 3 of the 4 high seeds have moved on. All of the top 4 uniques of all 3 of them have moved on so far.
Yeah, we still have to answer that question of will a Mikasa advance to top 4? But currently, 3 of them have been eliminated. Congratulations, River, though, of course, on the top 8 finish with a character that I think people always talk about in like murmurs, but when you think like ponies existing, but I guess post errata, maybe Mikasa is the kind of queen of this aggressive game plan of clearing cards, playing a bunch of attacks as we can. As of course, it led to the success of River getting to this top 8.
Exactly.
But Rodan continuing to prove their dominance here, now moving on to top 4 here for Buffalo. And like you said, sharing space now with a Devil Jin and a
Ezra.
Krista Lens.
On Ezra, yeah.
And then the last spot is yet to be claimed here, either from Mikasa Hizuru's Hope or a Hawks.
Yeah. That's a interesting position here. I wonder where we're going to go here. Like you and Sam are going to be doing the top 4, and there's going to be some interesting matches for that top 4.
Yeah, I'm excited for it to happen. I think it's still anyone's game. And I mean, if we want to go to the big picture, Brian might send us over to like an updated bracket here in a little bit, but I think the biggest thing to note here is, like you said, Mikasa Hizuru's Hope was represented on our pie chart or on our character breakdown. Mm-hmm. The most represented character here. But Devil Jin, to me, was still the character, the talk of the town, and that character is surviving and beat a Mikasa Hizuru's Hope, which is, at least based off of what people are saying, one of the answers to that character in the format. So there's a world where Devil Jin moves on as probably still the tournament favorite. Remember, Kyle's also your Swiss champ. He's going to go first all day if he continues progressing through the tournament. And I also think Kyle coming into this tournament, if he wins the whole thing, he went from basically, and I'll look it up, but I think Kyle started this tournament with basically not even having a qualification for day 1 of Worlds and could potentially go all the way and lock in a day 2 qualification for Worlds on the last possible chance of the year.
Why not?
Swiss champ, Devil Jin, talk of the town, And Hazura's Hope not exactly getting the results that I think a lot of people anticipated, even based off of Glasgow. That just happened, and we saw that character get a bunch of top cuts as well. But it is still anyone's game. I think what we're going to do is we're going to cut away to a break. There is only about 12 more minutes left in our final match for top 8. We will, of course, have the result for you because the tournament must go on. But, Jesse, you're going to be back for finals.
Sure will.
So we're going to send you away. Don't go anywhere. We have the rest of your Buffalo top cuts coming here shortly.
See you soon.
We're here at the